And happy Monday morning as I fix the Podbean Live here. Okay, happy to all of you on Podbean Live or a number of other entities this morning. Happy Monday morning. Hope you're doing well. Hello, Jake, and how are you today? And yes, good. I'm glad to hear that. Hope you're doing well over in the great state of Mississippi, my friend. Hope things are fine. You're holding down the fort over there, as they say, and hopefully you're having a fine morning. It's a little cooler. We're gonna have some cooler temperatures this week, and looking forward to a little bit of cooler weather this week and holiday week. We want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving week, kicking that week off. If you're traveling, being with family or whatever it is, if you're able to. Some people have to work. A lot of people be off of work, so the kids are all off, and it won't be. Yeah, sorry, Jake, about the pen breaking. I mean, the U.S. mail. What do you say? I did put them in a bubble wrap, and I kind of put them in another little thing, and they're rough. They're just rough. I was watching a guy delivering a package to my sister's house. You know, they use these subcontracted people that deliver your packages and stuff. And I was watching a guy pull up to my sister's house. She just lives down the street, and the guy he's hustling across the yard. He parks on the road. He's got some package. He gets to the steps. He just slings it, lands up on the porch, and he's pulling out his camera. They have to take a picture like a DoorDash. Excuse me, that they left that, and but I was like, what in the world is going on? Is that the way they deliver all of them? Usually I just watch them set them down, but this guy, he just did the whole, he must have tossed that thing at least 6 to 8 feet. Good morning, Watchman. How are you today? I did get to watch one of the videos that you sent me. Thank you for that. That was cool. It was the Power in the Blood one. And was that, I'm just, so I have my bearings straight, was, thank you, Jake. Was that you playing guitar? I was listening to it. Y'all were bringing it down. No, I liked it. Still got to get to the others. I didn't, I've been battling a little bit of allergies, and so I went to church and I came home and I just rested, man. I watched some football and stuff. I went back to church. I didn't even broadcast last night. I really just, I don't know, man. It just wears you out. You're just kind of, just tired. And thank you, Jake. That was you playing guitar. Awesome. How long ago was that? I was just wondering. No, Jake, he is not. And that's all I will say about it. I don't anything misconstrued or anything. Rob has decided to do his own podcast. So it is me. He's taking the Southern Fried podcast logo, and he'll have that logo. And I'm basically, I was Cornbread Nation and Wolf Nation anyway, kind of operating in that Cornbread Nation radio, have the radio station and stuff. So you'll be hearing me say more about that. So, but yeah, Watchman, that was cool. So, but you'll see Rob broadcasting some different hours at different times. We wish him well. We're friends, and he's got some good things going on for him. It was just a decision that was made over the weekend, and that's really all I got to say about it. So 2007, okay, goes back a fur piece, not too awful far. Jake, because I've got to move I won't be under the podcast one. I'm reorganizing my own, which we aired as well. So you'll be looking for my name on YouTube. I didn't take that one. So I am on YouTube this morning, but it's under my name. So if you're looking for it there, that's where it's at, bud. So anyway, happy Thanksgiving week. Are you guys going to be visiting family? Or the family coming to you, or just not able to do that? Some people don't have a family they can even visit. Some people just don't have any left. And so sometimes they get invited to friends and people like that. But we're going to do a small thing. My wife's health has, been not the best. She's doing okay, but, it's still a challenge. She's trying her best to do good. today and every day, getting stronger from the light strokes that she had. Um, well, I'm sorry, Jake. You just have to forgive me. You coming in awful hard this morning. Hey, it's National Sardines Day today. National Sardines Day today. That is something that I cannot get behind. I am not a sardine person, and I don't ever figure to be. I've fished with sardines before. I'm not a sardines person. So, what about you? You a sardines person? So, uh, I just can't handle them. I was going to look up this crazy thing, and let's see. Let's change that up a little bit. You ever heard of Pylon band from Athens who played with REM B-52s in the 80s? That drummer is the son of the couple in Pylon. He was only 13. That was his second show. Wow, he was bringing it. I want to tell you. I couldn't quite tell, you love sardines and hot sauce. Oh, man, I heard of so many bands, and I was really back in those, well, even further back, was I really into bands and, paying attention to the scene, the music scene, you might say. So it's possible that I have heard of them, but I just don't remember, to be honest. But that does kind of ring a bell. But I've certainly heard of B-52s. Of course, I know they got pretty big in REM. But there was a number of bands out of Athens at that time that was in and around the scene, and there was a lot of there was. And I swear, I could ask you this. Of course, this goes back to the '90s. There was a band called. I want to say it was Chain Gang, I swear, but there's like a rap group that's called that too. And maybe that's why they changed their name or they took it up later. But they were a pretty killer band. I watched them in Atlanta. They were on the radio on 96 Rock. The lead singer, they had chain all the way down the microphone stand. Their guitar player looked like Fabio, one of them. I was friends with the guy. I met them all, but I was friends with the guy. The bass player. That's kind of how I met the band. I reached out to get some information, and he ended up giving me some a demo tape. I've still got that somewhere, and I need to find it. I've just got it. You hide stuff from yourself without meaning to, and I guess that's what I did. Is I just sort of, hid it, I guess, for myself. But I've got the. They hadn't even cut an album, and they were fixing to go do that, and I lost track of them. And I don't know if they ever did that or not, but they obviously didn't. They're one of those bands among the many thousands that didn't make it. And, that happens. I mean, that absolutely happens. And that's tough. Bands sometimes they just don't make it and they're on the very edge. It's like, what's the band's name? And, God, I know it. What's the band's name that's in the Decline of the Western Civilization? Odin, was it Odin? They were supposed to be like the next big group that was going on, and they didn't make it. His first show was with it's at Stone Mountain, a big Christian festival. He did good. That was a heck of a first show. Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome. That's cool. I will watch the rest of the videos. I just had a kind of a busy weekend, not too busy. I'm just trying to get me back in shape. I didn't even broadcast Saturday. We did videos. Me and Paul did with the Wolf Nation, but we did 3 videos, I believe it was. And this schedule will get heavy again this week. It's kind of switching things around too. I had a lot of behind the scenes stuff to get done, and I'm still working through that. So mainly the schedule is remaining the same. I am doing some adjustments to the schedule through the week. Some of that will start tonight. So I'll say more about that. But this evening, hello, Miss Jen. How are you this morning? It's good. Me and Miss Jen were in Steve's attempts to play video game or stream video gaming, and I felt for him. He was awful frustrated. I know. And when he was gone, he was gone. I just had this image of Steve smashing his keyboard player after Not that he would have, because his keyboard player is in his laptop. But I had this vision of Steve just like one of those videos from The Office where he's taking smashing the keyboard or something. That's what I felt like Steve wanted to do last night. And I understand that. It's very frustrating when you fix one thing, something else messes up. And, sound is something that just drives a podcaster crazy because you want to have a good sound. Up too early, behind the scenes stuff is crazy. Okay, well, I hope you're doing good. Though, yeah, poor Steve. That was in Atlanta at a club for teens. This guy did to minister youth, keep them out of trouble. Awesome, man. Awesome. How long did your band stay together, Watchman? How long was y'all out there getting it and doing shows and stuff like that? I might have changed some members, or maybe you didn't, but I just wondered how long y'all were out there, getting performing, doing ministry and stuff like that. That's cool stuff, though. I like it. I was trying to pull up today's birthdays, and it was giving me a pain. It pulled up the wrong date, so I had to redo it. Steve was aggravated last night, and I certainly understand that. I really do. All right, I think I finally got it pulling up. It's been a little slow this morning. It's kind of like me. Doesn't want to get going. Frank Caprio, politician, passed away this year, his birthday. I didn't realize he passed. That's right, I do. That's the guy that did the judge thing. Wasn't that what he did? That was a pretty cool guy. I hate to hear that. I didn't know that he passed. I think I do remember, but I'd forgotten it. Leangelo Ball, 26. I've heard of him. Who else today is it their birthday? Colin Hanks, actor, know him, 47 years old today. And let's see. I'm not really going to mention her. Paul Tagliabue, of course, we heard about him passing just here with a week or two ago. Former NFL commissioner. Was his birthday today. Billy Connolly, man, he's 82. A birthday today. And Zachary Taylor, former U.S. president, a long time ago, his birthday as well. The great Oscar Robertson, 86 years old today. I can remember, kind of remember him playing ball as I'm older. But Stephen Merchant, comedian, I've seen him a little bit, 50. Denise Crosby, 67, actress. I remember her. Beth Phoenix. I don't kind of remember that. I sort of kind of remember that wrestler, 44 today. And DeWatt Schultz, TV actor, 77. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. You turned down 2 record deals. Well, 98 to 2007. Nice, man. It's a nice little run there. That's cool. That's cool. And like you were saying, sometimes you run into people and you meet people along the way, and you remember that stuff forever. Meeting people that are in the business and being connected to other people, and that's kind of what you run into. You just start making connections through that. I didn't know any of those people. I don't know any of those people. It's I've met a few people along the way, but I was in and out. Like I went ministry, I just really got out of all of it. I just quit going, and I'm ancient now, and I don't know anybody connected to anything really. barely. My knowing is the people I'm connected through work, the podcast, and family. That's about it. I don't do as like I used to. I used to do a lot of we're making new connections through the podcast, but I used to do a lot of the historical stuff, the War Between States reenacting and stuff, and I met a lot of interesting people. I hadn't done that in years. I doubt I'll ever do it again. I'm just getting old, which a lot of people my age do it, but toting a 9-pound gun into battle, especially with the way be falling and everything, I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I'll sit on the sidelines and watch. I know that you can portray those people in the South. You can certainly, the old had to serve on the home guard, and some of them in the units. But really, it was a young man's thing. And you get somebody that's real tall, not real tall, but a certain height, and they're very lean, and they got the perfect look for stuff like that. Uh, well, I believe that, my friend. I do believe that. That um, it's one. I remember years ago, and the guy he got pretty big in the Christian music scene. What was he had some pretty big hits, and one day he comes out. You know what I mean? He comes out, and I sent my pastor's wife an email because she was a big fan. And I'm like, have you seen this? And it was a work day, it wasn't a church day, and her and her husband at the time worked at the same place, and I saw them on that. That was on, like, I don't know, through the week kind of thing. And I don't remember if that was Wednesday night we saw each other again, or Sunday morning. I don't remember. My pastor said, he was cutting up with me. He said, man, he said, don't ever send my wife an email like that again. He said, you just killed her. He said, I heard her just holler out when she opened that email. And she had not heard about it. And she was devastated that this guy was living like that. I mean, she went and got her stuff and just threw it in the trash. It was like a death march. It's like, dude, you gotta let me know first. I gotta get prepared. He said she was just zoned out at work all day. They worked at the same place, and he did like maintenance out on the road and stuff, and was dispatched. And she was the internet this morning, so bear with my internet. That kind of funny, but I probably need to reboot the system. So one of those mornings, so hopefully it'll be all right. But yeah, he said, man, don't do me like that again. I'm thinking it's the guy that did the anchor holds. Wasn't that the guy? And I'm horrible at names now. I just can't recall names like I used to. But he said, dude, man, he said, you just killed her, man. She was gone for the rest of the day. Yeah, we weren't doing it to get rich or famous. We made good money before we quit secular music and started doing Christian music. We did it, spread the gospel. Amen. Yes, Ray Bolts. I could not remember that name. I could see his face. I have to have help now. What's that guy's name? Yeah, Ray Bolts. And he had some great hits. I mean, I say hits. I mean, they were. I mean it in they were well known, and people sung them in church, and they're great songs. There's not a good thing against the song, but it's just was sad to know that he was like, I've been living a lie. This is really the way I am, and it just devastated. There was another one that did that. More in the Southern gospel side of things a few years ago. But yeah, you're right. These people, they get out and portray themselves one way, and it's kind of like the game that actors and actresses play. They're portraying yes. If you didn't know that, yeah, that was her response. Yeah, he had a big coming out party. This goes back a number of years, man. I mean, like a while back. This is like a 20 plus year. I don't remember how long. It's been a while, man. I haven't been in church with them in a long time because I moved on to some other ministry and have never really been back but once. And they're not even at that same church anymore. But yeah, you get that. But it's like people link up, and it's that game sometimes. They're portraying one thing, but they're not really that. And I remember it's like the Kung Fu series, David Carradine. And of course, the person he plays on there is this Kung Fu. person and all that. But this dude was smoking cigarettes and drinking beer when he wasn't on the set. He didn't even know kung fu. He was an actor, but people thought that he was like a master because he played that part. And this dude, he said, "I'm the biggest fake ever." I mean, he said that. He goes, he said, I try to keep the weight down, but he goes, "Man, when I'm off the stage, I'm drinking booze and smoking cigarettes." He goes, "I don't follow my example. It's just a part." And a lot of people that were really in that, like a Bruce Lee or somebody who actually could do that stuff. He thought he was, if you go back to the movie, the Dragon or whatever it's called, he thought he was going to get that part. And of course, racism in Hollywood, they wanted a white guy for it, but he was not the martial arts guy. What was that he ate out of the burlap sack? Was that Roots tater? Well, maybe. I don't remember. But he might have had a Budweiser and a pack of Marlboros in there. But yeah, people think that they're doing they think they are but they're not. I mean, it's all a game. And that's the way it is that some of the stuff, I don't think anybody expects perfection, but you expect Christian living. I mean, you expect them to be, but yeah, I can only imagine what you saw. Peyote. Yeah, maybe. Oh man. And of course, a lot of people like to go back to the fact that they would say, well, the real champion at that time was not Bruce Lee. He could do the moves, man. He could do that. He developed that whole system. But they would point out that the other big actor was the actual champion, and that's truth. He was a champion and all that before he really got into the actor part of it. But he looked a little slow to me, especially when he had to, in some of the Walker Texas Ranger stuff. They had to do some some camera tricks for that. Oh, but yeah, but Bruce Lee was fast. Bruce Lee had a lot of back problems though. He'd gotten hurt way back, and he was in pain a lot of times. But they would say the extras would call him out sometimes and say, it'd always be that guy and say, "Oh, he can't do all that. He's just an actor and all that." And pretty legendary. He would call him out. He'd call him out and say, "Let's go. What you got?" And I don't think he ever lost. But it was not a smart thing to do because he was having all this back trouble anyway. And so, yeah, it always puzzled me as a kid what he ate out of the bag. Rutabaga. Oh, man. The stuff we grew up with. And it's just right there, You're never going to forget that stuff. The mysteries of the shows. We were doing that city we visited for Cornbread Nation, and we were talking about the events, but I just named them after some of the actors in the Andy Griffith Show, and Rob he was thinking the actors were doing them. I'm like, no, it's just named after them. It's honoring them. But that was fun. That was a fun one, and I enjoyed doing that. But I was thinking, when you look at some of these different shows, and it's fun to make up your own kind of line about them, what they really would have been, or whatever in real life. And we used to do that at work all the time. It was a way to pass the time of day. We would dissect a show and tell the real story. You got to be bored when you're doing that, but working 12 hours on a weekend, running machines, and it's hot or something, you'll find any way to break the cycle of whatever it is you're doing. So we would do all kinds of stuff like that. I always said that we solved the ills and the problems of the world over a weekend. We had it all figured out. Especially through the night, we worked night shift together. Some of us, you were doing anything to stay awake. So you were coming up all kinds of crazy stuff to talk about just so you know, because the whine of the machines would put you to sleep. Be warm or heat. We ran a heat set back in those days, and the heat off that heat set would be coming out, and that the whine of that machine, you had to keep moving. I mean, just sitting there watching it run, it puts you to sleep. It's like a truck running or something, man. When I was traveling, when I was not staying somewhere, I was just trying to keep the edge off so I could get back on the highway. But I'm a light sleeper, so even though I was wore out, it's hard for me to sleep. But I'd always park near the big rigs that were running. I would get not right in their way, but there was places I could get that would be close enough, and I just listen to the big old trucks just whine, just click off, and I could sleep like a baby listening to that stuff. So, you wanted to be the Bionic Man. When I was a kid, my wife said she wanted to be the Bionic Woman. We got laughing about having Bionic babies and Bionic chickens. What kid did not go out and try to run like that? Doing the slow motion part with the sound. That was cool. What's funny about that is it would have been much more believable, much more believable if he had a bionic frame. But just because you have a bionic arm, you're going to rip that. The whole thing's going to rip out of the body. I could go with the bionic eye and the bionic hearing and all that. But I might even could go with running that fast for a while, though they would blow their heart up. But him catching stuff, and I'm thinking you'd have ripped your body and your arm would have fell off. It just ripped out of socket. You had to take a giant leap with that one. But we did. We went with it. Oh, Steve Austin. We can rebuild him. Oh, then they had him kind of the love story, the Bionic Woman, Bionic Man. Of course, it didn't work out. They had to keep all that separate so they could keep their superstar single, Jamie. And I like the guy. He's one of the coolest guys in that. I don't remember his name in the show, was his boss. And that guy was in Westerns and all kind of TV shows. He acted a long time. He just had one of those looks, like he could play a lot of different parts. And way back when, they both played in an episode of Big Valley, where he was a doctor that went to jail as a criminal, as a bank. People died, and anyway, he spent his time in prison, come out, and became a doctor, and they're on a train together. And then later on, they start in that series together. It's funny how things come back around. Oscar, yes, Oscar. Oscar was the money. He was the one making things official, and can we afford it and all that stuff. And then Steve's going and getting. Then they had the techie guy. I don't remember his name either. The guy that do the maintenance on him, pit stop. And it seemed like there was a girl too, wasn't there? God, I can't remember. Secretary, whatever she was. I don't remember, but Oscar, yes. We have a situation, Steve. We need you to go to Colorado. And then the whole Bionic Man meets Bigfoot. Who wouldn't? Yeah, Jamie, who wouldn't remember that? I mean, like you go, every kid would be if that was today, the grown people, I'm sure they were then too. But the phenomena has gotten so big, I can imagine how many people would watch an episode like that, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and the Bionic Man. And then there was the second Bionic Man. He kind of went off the rails. They had to go after him, Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. I've actually wanting to do, as part of the reorganization of some of the shows, I'm trying to align because it was kind of in and out because of the way we did the shows. But the morning show will now be the Cornbread Man morning show Monday through Friday, which is it just lines everything up. And I'm doing a night show that's going to be really consistent on time and just be a night talk kind of thing. But we'll have different topics. But one of them I want to explore one night a week is this right here is these old shows, because we all have memories of that. and tapping into that. Day of the Robot, best episode ever. There was a robot Oscar. Yeah, Incredible Hulk was one of mine too. Loved the show. In fact, I didn't care for the movie, but I liked that show. It was a great actor, great actor. Both. I mean, you had to have both to make that happen. And they did a good job with kind of tapping into the tender side of it. Like he's has to leave town every show. He's got to go on the road, and the the monster within, that could rip people apart and sling people and throw people, but at the same time he would lift up a little kid and take him to safety and all that. Bill Bixby, yes, great actor, one of the best ever, in my opinion. He just really had that way about him. He was believable, and he had it was he could do complexity of character, and it was a perfect choice for that part. And I love that line they would say in there. Yeah, the music, but that line they would say in there, he said, "You wouldn't like me if you saw me mad," or something like that. When I get mad, or something like that. You wouldn't like me when I get mad. They show that sometimes when they're replaying all that, which is true. I mean, you would not you would not like him. And good morning to you on Podbean. Hope you're doing well today. Sorry, I've been had Instagram pulled up on top there. I see you and appreciate you. But yeah, Bill Bixby was great. The music was great. And I know after so long you just kind of run out of storylines, I guess, and so shows kind of disappear from the scene. But those were great shows. And now we have all these reruns, man. We can go to, I'll say I like to watch Pluto TV. It has a lot of old shows like that I like. And I watch Pluto. It's free, and I watch it about every day. I do have some internet. Like I use Fubo right now. And I've kind of bounced that around. I just try to find some deals and stuff, and you get deals if you bounce a little bit. But we also finding what package you like. But Watchman says, I wrote a song that was a breakdown in it's super fast as the music from when he is turning into the Hulk, that frantic piano riff. I stole that part. I just put it on the screen. No, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I like that, man. I like that. It's, taking something and making it yours. That's the artistic side anyway, But they that was a huge thing, making money off of that stuff. I mean, Mike Post back in the day, how many TV shows did Mike Post have the theme music for? This guy at one time was the guy. I mean, he wrote several of them. I mean, it was like every show that came on, every other one seemed like it said music by Mike Post. I mean, crazy. I mean, it's just, some people just have a knack for that kind of stuff. It's like the guy who writes jingles or something. Or there are people who have a knack for writing Hallmark cards, cards for sympathy or whatever. Or, they write them. People sit and come up with new ones all the time. They make money off that. Or the artist, they're submitting artwork. And, there's work out there for people. Even this day of computers and AI and all that, there are still people that have abilities that, they can continue to get work. But AI is a threat to all of that. And a lot of stuff is now being mixed with AI or is being turned over to AI. And that's changing a lot. But back in the day, and you go all the way back, all the way back to the guy or the men and women that wrote that drew the early cartoons, and they would put all them scenes together to, run the little short of the movie or TV show or whatever. Crazy stuff. And they would sit in those, little studios forever drawing that stuff out. Amazing respect for that kind of thing. Gilligan's Island best theme song, Fight Me. Well, I'd have to think about that, my man. It's a good one, though. I mean, it is a good one, and you can remember it. Somebody on X over the weekend put the picture of the boat laying outside. They didn't show the name, and they said, if you know what TV show this is from, we can be friends. I thought, well, that's easy. Excuse me. But those, a lot of young people ain't gonna know, but that is a good one. That is a good one. I mean, it has its own little, it has a flow to it. And they put all the parts of the people in there, the skipper too, and all that. That's pretty cool. I gotta say, it is pretty cool. There's a lot of, some of them were better without words. Some people like, what was it? Well, it's the Andy Griffith Show. That's just music, but there are words to it. A lot of people never knew that. I've heard both versions. But somebody sit down and come up with that stuff. I don't know how they. It's just amazing how their minds work to sit down and put something like that together. It's like when they're doing an album for a movie and they're putting the word out there. And I heard recently, Sammy Hagar talk about this. Beverly Hillbillies, yeah, that's a good one too. But Sammy Hagar talked about writing the song Heavy Metal for the movie, the cartoon movie Heavy Metal. And even though it's not really heavy metal, it has a great riff. But that's a good song. But, you submit a song for a movie, you may or may not get accepted. Sanford and Son is a banger. Quincy Jones wrote that. I do like that one too. Those are all classic shows I really like, And my mom was really big into a lot of that stuff too. So Flat and Scruggs, yeah, they did. The Dillards out of Andy Griffith's show, a couple of them or three are still alive today. Maybe one of them, I'm not sure. And he posted the other day on his Facebook the original contract with the Andy Griffith Show. Now they made like $200 something show. They was said, you're not going to speak at all. We don't need you here for that. Although I think there was one time maybe one of them said something, but anyway. Darlin was not a part of that. The skit was, but he was not in the band. I mean, he just playing that jug, but he was not in the band. But what Andy did for them, and he said he didn't have to do was, he said, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you exclusive rights to what you're doing here. So like they could sell, they could make money off of that, publish it off of it and everything. Which they said it blew them away. And so, they've made money off that all these years. And he was showing one of the original contracts from the early 60s of that show when they first started. And they had it all written out there and what they made and all that. I thought that was pretty cool. Don Felder wrote a song, Heavy Metal, for the movie Heavy Metal. Have you ever heard that one? Good song, I believe so. But yeah, and then Kenny Loggins was a master at that. How many movies did Kenny Loggins, have a song in? He was that guy. Just as much as Mike Post was for the TV shows, Kenny Loggins from Top Gun on down, this guy was writing songs all over the place for that. And they're just popping in my head right now as I think about them. This Is It. There's different ones that he wrote that were used in movies. Mob Rules was written for heavy metal. It's a different version than what on Mob Rules album they recorded, that of John Lennon's house where he wrote Imagine. Okay, cool. But a lot of people went and watched that movie. I guess that was a success, even though it was a cartoon. It was, as a movie, it was still successful. I mean, it was, to this day, I'd say probably people pull that up and watch it, even though it's very, very old now. That goes way back. But that was a good album. And, sometimes you have a really bad movie that has a great soundtrack. Sometimes you have a good movie that has a bad soundtrack. Every once in a blue moon, you will have a really good movie with a killer soundtrack. But, some people, I liked the movie. It was okay. The Last Action Hero, but Def Leppard had a song in there. And I thought the movie was good, although it was a little different than normally was, but the soundtrack was really good, so you get some good music out of that. maybe a lot of the hits you think about, like a movie Footloose. I mean, how many songs off that soundtrack were big hits on the radio? I mean, that one just exploded. And to this day, those songs are still being played in classic rock radio. The premise of the movie, I hated, to be honest with you, because they were really putting down people of faith. I mean, it was a full-on attack on people of faith, and they're all stupid and mean and ignorant, and I get it. You can get in legalism and stuff, sure, but they try to make everybody just horrible. But it was funny how many people in that town could dance that never was allowed to dance. like they couldn't dance, but like everybody was an expert. That's movie stuff for you. But the music in Footloose was great. I mean, the fact he rolls into town listening to Quiet Riot, I could go with that. British Steel by Priest was recorded and wrote at the same time, or the same house, excuse me, the Metal Footsteps on Metal Gods as Lennon's Civil War drawer being banged on the floor and mic'd up. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I love that kind of stuff, though. I love when they do stuff like that. And, when they take, Jimmy Page was a master at the setup for mics and stuff. The stuff that he did to get some of those sounds with Zeppelin. So it doesn't, it's just amazing. But yeah, and you get that backdrop to that's just cool stuff to know, and when I'll be covering Judas Priest on the music show here not too far down the road. I'm doing Def Leppard right now, but I told Anthony I would do Dio and who's the other one? Oh my goodness, who else did he ask about? I know, and I can't think right now. I could see them too. It's like Iron Maiden, Iron Maiden. We're going to do those, and then I might do Priest, who are still out there getting it, minus one. One, well, really two, I guess, because one had health reasons, and the other one was just he can't play with them, so he does his own thing. But most of them's there, But I remember walking into a music store. I was this was back in the early 90s, and it was that I can't remember the name of the album, but I walked in a music store, and they would always play like an album, and they would the cassette, and they would put it on the counter, and they would say now playing, and that was to get you to buy music. Well, I actually bought the album that day, and it was that opening track, and it comes out with a scream. It starts out low, then it just explodes. And I'm like, what is that? I walked up, and he says, the new album by Judas Priest. And I said, I'm going to buy it. I went there just looking around. I said, I'm going to buy that. And I wanted to just for that one song, if nothing else. Jimmy, yeah, well, he was, there is really no telling how many things that he was on as a session musician. That guy was all over the place. I'm trying to think of the album. Was it the one with the razor blade? What was that one? The one with the razor? I think it was the one with the razor blade on the album cover. Is that, was it that British Steel? Is that the one? Man, I can't remember because I'm not I can't tell you. I got to have help with a Priest. I know a lot of their career, not a big part of it. You have a list of British Steel. So I bought that album. I'm pretty sure that's the one. Just bought it on the spot because of that opening song and the way it screamed out. I said, oh, I got to have that. It got my attention that much. And I liked a lot of their music. Again, I wouldn't say that I am an expert at all. My things wanting to mess up, we'll just let that go off. But I definitely like their music, a lot of it. Rob Halford is amazing. His range, even today, he has amazing range as an artist. They're getting a little long in the tooth, but he's a funny guy. Yeah, I don't agree with his lifestyle, but he's kept bringing it all these years. That's for sure. And a lot of guys with the range that he has Wow. And they had that guy. I think he has a band now. Or what was the guy who replaced him? And he was found. It was like a like a YouTube search, like Journey did. They found this guy, and I've read his post a lot. You know, he had amazing. He didn't have the stage presence of Rob Halford, but the voice, man, he could carry all the stuff. But he has filled in for people. He's had his own, been a part of bands. That guy he did quite a few with them. Um, who did that? Or are you saying, yeah, it was Ripper Owens, but who did that to Jenny Lane? Are you saying that was the other dude? I don't know if I remember that. I didn't know that's what messed him up. I knew he had a drinking problem. I didn't know that. I didn't know that part of it. If I ever heard it, I've sure forgotten it because I don't remember that. But Ripper Owens, but on stage, I mean, he wasn't horrible or nothing, but he didn't have. Not that Rob Halford has amazing, but this guy just wasn't used to that. It took him a little while. He got better at it, but yeah, Ripper, crazy a talent to be able to pull that off. And but he was never. It's one of those deals where you're in, but you're not really in. Um, okay, all right, cool. I didn't know that, but he was maybe on what 3 albums with him. I know 2 for sure. That's pretty cool. I mean, so he wasn't just a guy that came out and sang the songs. They actually recorded with him. Um, oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that, man. Wow, no wonder. Yeah, that's horrible. That's really really horrible. And what a talent Jenny Lane was. I liked a lot of their stuff. It's a talented band, and they absolutely. And of course, enjoy making money, but I know you would know how they told them they had to write the hit. They were going to call the album that really last big album that they had others, I think, before everything went off the rails, but it was going to be called the Down Boys or whatever, or Uncle Tom's Cabin, one of them, I can't remember, but anyway, Uncle Tom's Cabin, I guess, is going to be called, but they made them write Cherry Pie, and they made a lot of money off of that, but they were very upset about that, and things just kind of shifted after that, but what a talented band. Talented. Warren DeMartini, what that band? Maybe I'm thinking of a different band, but anyway, he was a very very talented band. There was so many that came out. If they talk about you go down the Sunset Strip during that time, and there was hundreds of bands, trying to make it, and there were some that were. I mean, there were a lot of clubs, and they were all full with those kind of bands, and some of them made it out of it, and some of them didn't. Yeah, that was Rat. I'm sorry. And that's another band that should have been even bigger was Rat, but they were a lot of bands that just never made it out of that scene, and really even quite right. They never got as big as. And they got pretty big, but they were supposed to be bigger. And of course, they were lineup changes and stuff, and they didn't. They made some pretty good success for themselves, but never as big as really probably what people thought they were going to be. Jakey Lee played in Rat. Okay, didn't know that. Or if I have, like I said, sometimes they just bounced around to different things. I mean, the fact that Slash tried out for Poison always cracks me up and didn't get the job. That just cracks me up. But he wouldn't have. Well, I say what. I mean, everybody was looking a little glam back in the early days. I mean, everybody, including Guns N' Roses. I think a couple of members of the band got into it more than others, but that whole scene I was not into. The early Poison album, that look on the album, oh, hated that. Hated that album cover. My gosh. That was just bad. Bad. uh, well, a band like, of course, the
the death, Hanoi Rocks, the violent death, and you know the problems after that. I mean, it was really amazing that they overcame. Speaking of Motley, overcame that. That easily could have put him in jail for a long time, and then there was just hard feelings between what happened because I mean, like you killed him, man, like you killed him, and that was an ugly time, ugly time. But yeah, can you imagine being in that scene? Watchman, I was buying strings at the music store in Athens, and the owner asked me was going to rat that night, and I said, I kill rats. And they were standing right there, and the guy checking me out whispered, that's them. Oh, pretty hilarious. I didn't recognize that. That's pretty cool, man. I kill rats. Oh, it's like, hey, dudes. I mean, they're like, hey. Well, that first wasn't Round and Round. They had the rats. I didn't really care for that. I didn't think because they put the extra T there. I didn't because Lord knows I hate rats. I hate them, and it's a cool sound. I like the way that you get the extra T and it does something for it. But I did. Excuse me. Really good band. Really good band. But I didn't care for that. I kill rats. I bet they were not happy about that. But hey, you make your bands, you got to lie in it. You make a name like that. They didn't say nothing, but I'm 6'4". So. I was in I'll say this. I'm about to go in a minute. I have to go stop by the docks this morning, do a follow up on my biometrics, and then on to work. I'm gonna check out just a little early. That's why I came in a little early. I think I may do it like that anyway. But I was in. If you've ever been to the Masquerade in Atlanta, the 3 levels and all that, I've saw some bands up there in the top level, But we ran into a guy, and I think he was just trying to get money. You was in your work clothes, looked rough. We were in the parking lot headed into Masquerade. This guy was in the parking lot begging for money. And he was trying to say that he was the roadie for a band, and he had their equipment, and he had to get the money to get it to a gig. And I'm like, then what are you doing at the Masquerade? Yeah, exactly, Watchman. I'm like, what are you doing at the Masquerade? Like, shouldn't you have been, So we started asking all these questions, and the guy's like, I got to go, man. Just throw me some money. And I'm like, we're not giving you no money, man. You need to do a better job, And I think it was all a scam anyway. But I told him, I think you're full of crap. But I said, even if it's legit, I'm not giving you nothing, man. You should have no business being here. You're doing your bandmates wrong, if that's true, which I doubt it is. And the guy starts flipping us off, cursing us and everything. I said, yeah, I think y'all need to fire. I think y'all need to fire. The band needs to fire you. You're not a good protector of their music. You got their gear out here in the parking lot of the Masquerade. I'm like, come on, dude. He's just flipping us off and telling us what we can do to ourselves and everything else. But oh, you met Rudy? How cool is that at the Masquerade? I always felt it that way. I've never met Rudy Sarzo, but I've always felt that he probably was that kind of guy. He's a very, he gets it. Like he gets like America. Like he understands how important freedom is because of what he came out of. And he has a very sensitive side. He's a big animal lover. I know that. And the guy doesn't age. I mean, he has, but he still plays. I mean, and I heard him talking again just the other day about the Crash and Randy Rhoads. And it looked like to me he was about in tears again, man. all those years later, that scene, he was almost crying, just relaying it again. I've heard him say it before. And I know it has to be hard for him. He's always going to get that question. But he went through it. He talked about what shows they were at and how they were traveling and got down there. And, there were some parts he didn't share that because I've read his book and he adds in some more details. But, all those years later, I mean, that's been a long time ago. I mean, what? Well over 30 years ago. Maybe it's 40, whatever it is, 40 years ago. That was 80. What was it, 82, 3, 83, somewhere in there? If I were a thief, I could have stole 2 Ingwe Marshall heads at the same show Rudy was playing bass for Ingwe. Okay. That's the thing. You got people hanging around looking to do stuff like that. Guitars and stuff. That's a quick sell, somewhere. A band, especially when they're first starting out too. Or if that's, like I said, they're playing gigs all over, but they trailers and stuff. You got to really batten down the hatches. People, they know, they watch people and they're watching what they do, and they're looking to get into their stuff. Take off with all of it. The whole thing, and even a bus. If you were big enough, a bus. I mean, they can break into stuff like that, given the right circumstances. Or right after a show, they start acting like they're a roadie helping out. Because they'll use some people that just want to help. But you got to be careful because there's to be a thief there. Usually they're not letting them handle the guitars and stuff. You can push some amps and stuff out. But, Steve that comes in here, he just showed up and would help bands in his area. He did a lot of roadie stuff and was getting in with bands up in Ohio where he's at. Because you're always looking for some help. You can't hire but so many. He had heads just sitting on the sidewalk. No, oh wow, yeah, that's a big mistake. Wow, what a dummy! I never saw him anyway. I never saw him. I've watched videos of him and stuff, but never saw him live anywhere. All the shows I ever went to, I never saw him. Well, I do got to get out of here. I got to go to the doctor. I'll be back on this evening, so you'll be. We got sports and racing tonight, and then I'm going to switch around the night show a little bit. But we'll talk to you guys. Used to roadie for Diamond back in my own bands. Okay, cool. That's how a lot of people got their start, man. Become a tech, and then from a tech, sometimes got to be the guy. That happened, or the girl. I mean, they discover you can play, and it's like, hey, we need somebody. Can you play? Yeah, I can play. Can you play this? Well, our guitar player just, quit or something. And that's one reason my back is shot. Oh, man, that stuff is amazingly heavy. Some of that old stuff, that old gear especially. Nowadays, it's amazing what they can do with stuff that's not. They still use a lot of that, but there's a lot that has really gotten smaller and lighter and stuff they've learned how to do. I'll say this. I was watching Kiss on the River up in, I think it was Nashville. And they were rocking it so hard and it was a temporary setup, but I remember they had roadies that were going around. They were so loud. They always played loud, but some of their speaker stacks, one of them was vibrating off of the other speaker. And I got caught up in watching that. So like 2 or 3 times during a song, these guys would have to manually just kind of push the speaker back. And that's how much vibration was coming out of that thing, just as it was rocking. You can see that speaker just crazy. But that was a River show, a series they did, and actually Kiss. I forget who opened up for them, but I remember Gene and Paul stepped out, and the fans went nuts. While the opening act, they had 2 or 3 bands playing short before them. I think 2 bands, and they came out to hear one into the one of them. They wanted to. And it was like a gangplank they had to walk down. So they just came on out and was checking them out. They went backstaging behind the speaker stacks and were watching this band. They really liked them. You could tell they're really into it. Of course, the fans went nuts. This was no makeup because I never saw them in makeup. But I've saw Kiss a couple of times. But that was like I didn't even know what was going on. I don't remember how we found out about it. We might have just been in town, went down and got a ticket and walked up. You sat on the ground and watched it. But it was pretty cool. Well, hey, everybody, enjoyed the discussion this morning. Dave's got to get out of here. Happy Monday to you. Have a great week. We'll be in and around all week long as usual. And the Cornbread Man will be out of here, and we'll check it. Yeah, better believe they'll move them. But we'll check you out tonight if y'all can stop in, and y'all take care. Have a great Monday. Be safe, and God bless America. Take care. If I get the music.